Hey everyone, welcome to Strange Stories, where we explore near-death experiences and supernatural stories from people who've had a glimpse of the other side. If you enjoy our content, please consider liking the video and subscribing to our channel. Without further ado, let's get to the story of the day. My guardian angel paid me an extremely meaningful and hyper-real visit. I have since given her the name Angie. I don't know what a real name is, but I get the idea they don't have names in the way we know them. During the interaction, she approved my using the moniker Angie instead of a general one like Angel. It began on a Saturday evening in mid-February 2018, 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was assisting my sister with some difficult spiritual concerns that had arisen a few months before to this event. Before she departed that Saturday evening, she assured me that she thought she was going to be fine after talking with me all day. I went upstairs to watch a movie, but was strongly advised to go to bed early. I shut off the movie based on my intuition. Then I took Tylenol for a headache that I was expecting. "You're not going to need that tonight," said a clear, soothing female voice. So I took the pills and went to bed. The most beautiful feminine voice I'd ever heard returned to me again as I laid on my pillow. "I have a tiny gift for you tonight," she added. "Yeah, right. What type of gift can you give me?" I blew her off at this point. I must be very exhausted since I'm hearing things and talking to myself right now. She then said she would let me sleep for 4 hours and then come back for me. I agreed and told her it was great because I just wanted to sleep and couldn't believe I was talking to anyone. It was 8 p.m. at the time, and I promptly fell asleep. The odd thing was being aware of her before falling asleep. She was still standing nearby in my mind's eye when I went to bed. She was standing in front of a big entrance filled with gray light and mist. She was smiling and staring at me. It was strange for a phantasm of my imagination to accomplish that. But whatever. I was tired and had fallen into a comfortable trance. The next thing I saw and felt was the return of my phantasm of my imagination. She reached over and gently gripped me beneath my arms, lifting me out of bed. When this sight or experience occurred, I felt a great sensation run through my body and down my spine. I knew something was off with this dream. I felt what I can only think was unconditional love, as well as other pleasant feelings or sensations that I'd never had before. I informed her that I was having a lucid dream. "It's not a dream, hun," she added with a smile. "Sure it is. These are quite realistic," I exclaimed. "I've heard a lot about them, but I don't get them very often." "You're not dreaming, and when I put you back, you'll know it's not a dream," she stated again. As she held me, another degree of heightened awareness washed over me. "I must be dead," I informed her. "My body's choking to death somewhere, or I've ceased breathing." She reassured me that everything was fine with my body. She let me observe it comfortably while resting in my bed to calm my nerves. The time I recorded on my body clock was 12:10 a.m. I then questioned her and asked, "Are you really an angel, or is it anything else? Can you show me who you are?" She smiled and assured me that this was normal from an earthly standpoint. There are doubts there, so she took my hand and led me to a higher level. Something even more astonishing happened when we went. I now had no reservations. I had no additional bad emotions or ideas because it was impossible for me to think of them. All of humanity's laws, regulations, and conventions have vanished. At this time, the word bliss does not adequately communicate or explain what I experienced. She smiled and said that all I was feeling was a sliver of his love for me and all of us. This interaction lasted more than 4 hours. She told me many profound personal and significant truths about myself and humanity, such as how we are all one and made of his light. She stated she was formed of the same stuff as the rest of us and that we were all created by God. She assured me that this was my prize for seeking him and his truth. She was overjoyed that I made it this far in my own dedicated pursuit. She was relieved that I had the foresight to seek him for aid in sorting through the mounds of ancient papers, books, and modern references I had studied and gathered over the years in search of my own answers. When I gazed at her, I wondered, if ancient man saw something like this, is this how religion began? Would they regard her as a god? She quickly read my mind and told me that I was not to idolize her. She was an ambassador sent by our Creator to assist me on my own unique spiritual path. I was permitted to be grateful for his great assistance in my search. I was assured that Angie was real. She explained that all of this was happening because I purposefully chose my own way to locate him. She demonstrated how, years ago, I had abandoned my previous musical interests. I eventually learned to appreciate and listen to music inspired by a higher level of consciousness. This was music that did not harm the spirit or mind by conveying negative messages or causing conflict. I'd also quit watching movies and television shows that catered to the lowest common denominator. I resisted the lures of drugs and drink. I had given off myself to care for others. I avoided relationships that did not have true love at their foundation. I would repeatedly ignore my base human nature in order to accomplish and expect high aspirations and standards of myself and others. He came halfway to meet me because I had purposefully reached out to him. Regardless of the obstacles and distractions of this time on earth, my objective was to meet and hear the divine. She informed me that I had done the right thing by assisting my sister. When I was puzzled or had doubts, I prayed to him directly for assistance in finding the words to help when I needed his help. I had requested for him to be in my life, for my guardian angel to be active in my life, for me to be able to hear them easily in order to do the right thing and make better decisions and benefit others. She confirmed that he had heard every thought I had. She assured me that having a human experience or being a human being was not a sin. Please keep in mind that she gave me extremely clear imagery of examples from my life to help clarify the meaning while telling me these things. She showed me how she was with me from the beginning and how she helped me as a youngster when I was scared, had nightmares, or had to make difficult moral decisions. She had shown me all the beings, heroes, archetypes that she had been in my dreams throughout the years to help calm my concerns and assist me in the right route. I told her I didn't want to go back at some point. This was more than I could have imagined or hoped for. She told me I had to return. She said she only had a limited amount of time to show me things, that I was doing significant work and was an important part of his plan. People were shown, and how heartbroken they would be if I left that night. Even the tiniest act of kindness to others has the power to soften hearts. I'm where I'm supposed to be, with whom I'm supposed to be. Words and thoughts have power, and despite the negativity and stupidity of others, maintaining a good state of mind and speaking gently was critical. As soon as she saw me, she told me I was perfect. She stated I was overly hard on myself a lot of the time, but in reality, we learned lessons on Earth, and making mistakes is part of the process. That this human form was created for a specific purpose, to interact in this world and do the responsibilities and roles that He assigned to us. Everything has a purpose. From our limited vantage point, we can't see the finished outcome, but we know it was worthwhile and resulted in something lovely. Time was meaningless. I could have stayed for 1,000 years or only 10 minutes. The passion was so intense that I had forgotten about earthly things and the illusion of time. I was shown different material goods that I had desired throughout my life but did not care about while I was with her. Someone could have offered me a planet to rule over, but I refused. That love was sufficient. I could have survived solely on love. She showed me every moment someone had hurt me in my life. There were thousands of incidents of anguish, some long forgotten but now vividly displayed to me. She inquired as to my ability to forgive. From the vantage point I had, I was able to forgive them all. As I forgave everyone, she smiled and said that going against one's base nature and inflicting misery on others was the most essential thing one could do. We only hurt ourselves when we injure others, because we're all a part of him. There was a lot more to it. The majority of the interactions and conversations took place in a gorgeous alien world. The setting had a 500-foot tall tree in the wide plains. In the background, there was a river and a gorgeous storm with violet lightning. There were many weird, gorgeous flora and creatures that I'd never seen before. She mentioned that we could go exploring in this realm eventually. It had a dense atmosphere but little gravity. Angie was 15 feet tall and was lovely in my eyes. Her eyes were golden and glowed like the sunlight. There was no negative tone to her words, no bad feelings she expressed, and no negative sensations I felt. Her speech was far more eloquent than anything I could ever hope to emulate. From behind her, she produced a beautiful, light-glowing tone. I got the idea that she could disguise herself as anything to convince me that she was a divine messenger. She was planning to reintroduce me to my body at 4 a.m., but I pleaded for a delay. I noticed her looking back over her shoulder at the green sky. Someone appeared to be speaking to her, but I couldn't make out what they were saying. She then returned her attention to me and stated I may have 30 minutes but no more. She showed me at the time that love is a physical force, like gravity, electrons or photons of light, and that it passes through all times, places, and dimensions, since it is a part of him in everything. I felt like I was putting on a heavy, tight diving suit as she put me back on. 2 loud knocks on the bedroom door jolted me awake, causing me to recall everything vividly. I felt as if I weighed only 1 pound. That sensation of unnatural serenity, lightness, and love lasted for 12 hours that Sunday. I also received the impression, like in my dream, that I was physically restrained at some point. She then told me to get out of bed and start my Sunday by washing everyone's clothes to help my grandparents. As I took clothing out of the dryer, I couldn't help but laugh. The next thing I knew, I was in another realm on an unknown planet, being told the most profound secrets of the cosmos by a being of amazing intelligence and grace. In a humdrum world, I was folding boring clothing to put in a boring hamper for boring work tomorrow. I received the sensation she would return at some point in the future, and that I had promised to follow her as my personal teacher to help me grow closer to our Creator.